I'm Dr. Jett, and I've had a passion for public health for over 30 years. Now I'm in a position to effect change, and these are the critical conversations about health and our community, with people who can help me make those changes. Welcome to CEO Live Talks. I'm your host, Dr. Jett, and today we're filming at Joe's Palm Room. And I want to introduce you to a special guest, a friend of mine, Mr. Edward Moore. So welcome to the set, my man.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
So I must first say, this man is from Chicago, same neighborhood, and we have been fortunate to make it out. But my experience is a little bit different than his experiences because we went to different schools. And, I think he went to a little bit better school than I did. I don't know. I'm not going to say better, but, maybe situational a little bit better. Right.
I went to the suburbs. Yeah, my parents knew what the south side of Chicago was all about. So they like, man, look here, your grandmama stay in them suburbs. So guess where you finna go? I said, oh, what about my friends? No, you come back on the summer. We'll come get you on the weekends. That turned into every other weekend.
Right.
But yeah, Chicago's home. I did school in the suburbs. I went back to Chicago for college.
Now, what school did you go to in the suburbs?
Lake County Christian Academy.
Lake County Christian Academy. I mean, that's like saying back in the day, I went to Homewood Flossmoor. That was way out in the suburbs. They had preppy pants on, the preppy socks and all that good stuff.
We might have had a class or two about the Bible. You're definitely going to get a Christian education,
I am not bad.
Man, it helped, bro.
So where did you grow up in Chicago?
Man, 75th and Halsted.
Okay.
On the south side, man.
Okay.
And after a while, they moved to the suburbs. So we always in the suburbs by the time it was time to go to middle school, high school. But yeah, man, I was right there on the set. So I grew up on Doc's Fish and Harold's Chicken.
Harold's Chicken.
Man, yeah, dog.
So tell us a little bit about your life.
I got a background. I was in the military, so when I left Chicago, I joined the Army Reserves.
Why did you join the Army?
You know what?
Because we're gonna have a conversation about why people join the military.
So I knew we didn't have money for college.
Okay.
I knew the military was the way out. Okay. I picked the Army because you take the ASVAB. I don't know if people ever you take the test to see what you score. Mm-hmm. I scored really high, so I could have went to any branch.
Right.
But the Army recruiter was like, "Hey, man, you come to the Army, we're gonna give you a $6,000 signing bonus."
Boom.
Hey, man.
I want that money.
Hey, man, I'm 17 years old.
I want that money.
what you talking about?
I ain't seen that.
Man, I need all that. What he didn't tell me was they was gonna break it up over 4 years,
right,
and get a few payments. Right. But it was a way out, man. It helped me pay for some college and stuff like that. So, I didn't want to get caught on the block, to be honest.
So, years ago, I was not a proponent of joining the military, and I'm still always on the fence. I believe in serving the country.
Yeah.
But I remember the issues when people joined the military, or were drafted in Vietnam War. Mm-hmm. And I take it personal that our soldiers came back and they were spit upon and they weren't respected.
Yes.
And then if you were black, you still had to deal with redlining.
Yeah.
And you couldn't live in certain neighborhoods. And most of the people that died at war came from impoverished communities.
Yeah.
And, African Americans was at the front line.
Mm-hmm.
Also, there was poor whites at the front line. But to me, it was because there was no other way out. Like you didn't have the funds to go to college. So I think if you have an opportunity to go to college or to do a trade, I'd rather take that risk than, I know in the next 5 years we might be going to war.
Yeah.
So we have to prepare and think about that.
Yeah.
Because that's your livelihood.
I completely agree. In the house, we told my son that the military was not an option for you. that may have been the option for me because Chicago itself can devour our youth with everything that goes near. So it was the best option for me to get out of my situation. My son grew up in a totally different situation. So we told him, hey, you could get a trade, you could start a business, you can go to college, but the military is off the table. And I look at it like when you have options, it should be your last options. And when you start to accumulate things in life for yourself, and I'm going to tag it wealth, although it may not be financial wealth, it may be in different areas. When you start to accumulate some form of wealth, then you don't send your kid to the military. Rich white people don't send their kids to the military. It's a reason for that. And so that's kind of what we instilled and pushed around the house.
Yeah, so once you left the military, what was your next course of action? What did you?
I needed to finish school because I joined as a reservist, get ready to go off to college. I ain't want to go to war, none of that. But then Desert Storm is jumping off. So they're like, well, you know what? You need to put college on hold. We're sending people over to Iraq or whatever. So that froze me up for a little bit. When I came back, though, you know, I went to college, junior college, and I transferred into UIC. At first, I had it dead set in my head that I was going to be an anesthesiologist. I was going to be in the operating room, putting people to sleep and waking them up. And my uncle had an accounting service. He was like one of the few black accountants I knew. He had retired from AC Nielsen in Northbrook, Illinois, and started his own firm. And he was like, well, man, if you're going to be a doctor, who's going to take over this firm when I die? And I was like, man, that's kind of like...
That's none of my business.
Yeah. It's kind of like a guilt trip. And like, man, you're the first in our family to go to college, but I'm second and you're guilt tripping me. Okay, Unc, I got you. I'm going to be a business major. I'm going to be an accountant, and we're going to count other people's money, and we're going to come up off that. So cool. So that was the plan. I'm going through college, man, getting the accounting degree, and my uncle passes away, man.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I'm already on this course. It was my favorite. Man, just how you dress and stuff. This is my uncle. He was like this every day. The style points, the cool, man, swag before swag was the word we used. Like sharp as a tack was him.
Sharp as a tack.
But he passed away, man. So I continued on the accounting journey, you know, hopping around from company to company for a while until we decided I started another company which repositioned apartment communities in different markets. So I would take like 300-unit apartment communities. I would do add value for them. I'd retrain their staff. I would redo their landscaping. Whatever it took for the owners of those communities to make money, that's what I did. And I did that all over the country for years. And then finally circled my way back into the accounting business.
This episode of CEO Live Talks is brought to you by Park National Bank. Pay with confidence. Your Park debit card is the fast, safe, smart way to pay this holiday season. Get more details online at parknationalbank.com.
If you or someone you love is considering therapy, contact the professionals at Park DuValle Community Health Centers today.
My Park DuValle Community Health Center is right here.
Communities in our name.
My Park DuValle Community Health Center is right here.
You're always on time.
Because we serve the community.
My Park DuValle Community Health Center is right here.
Park DuValle Community Health Center, providing quality health care, one person, one family, one neighborhood at a time.
My Park DuValle Community Health Center is right here for them.
Park DuValle Community Health is right here for your children's primary care. At Park DuValle Community Health Center, our team of highly dedicated pediatric physicians administer state-of-the-art care right here, every day. Because serving the community is more than part of our name, it's our mission. Park DuValle Community Health Center, providing quality health care, one person, one family, one neighborhood at a time.
At Park DuValle, we offer a variety of services for behavioral health needs, such as therapy, medication management, case management, and we also have community health workers. Here at Park DuValle Community Health Center, in our behavioral health department, we provide you with the tools to help improve your life and your mental health. If you or someone you know is experiencing thoughts of suicide, please don't hesitate to give the Suicide Prevention Hotline a call. This could save your life or someone else's life.
You know why we're having this conversation this month?
Why is that?
It's financial literacy. It's tax season.
It's tax season.
It's tax season, right?
Yeah.
And
yes.
One of the things that, I have noticed is we don't educate our youth enough, right? Before they leave the house at 18, go to college, right?
Yes.
And then when you become an adult, how do you open up a checking account? How do you build credit?
Yeah.
How do you purchase a home?
Yeah.
It took me until I was an adult to figure out those things because I had nobody to teach me.
Yeah.
So, tell me a little bit about what should an individual and their teams do first?
Unfortunately, you're absolutely right, man. We are probably about 400 years behind the ball on that.
Yeah.
And some of that is, most of it is systemic.
Right.
It's not our fault. And it's not really taught in the schools, or at least not in our schools.
Right.
You can go to some parochial and private schools and start getting this education at 6, 7 years old. But what I always would recommend to a teen, and it's going to sound really small, is get a bank account. As soon as you can, get a checking, get a savings account. Learn a few principles, which I'm about to share.
Right.
When you get your first job, 15, 16, you're at McDonald's. In my case, it was like Six Flags, Great America, wherever
Six Flags.
Wherever you're working at, start applying like a 70, 10, 20 rule. 70% is that money for you and your bills. Save 20% of it, no matter what. You want to save 20% and put up 10%. And give away 10%. Let that be your tithe. Let that be if you have a cause that you're trying to back. And if you start learning those principles really, really young, they'll carry you through all your life. And we don't get that. We don't be stern. I meet kids, they don't have a bank account. So that's why currency exchanges in Chicago is so popular. We're adults and we're kids with no bank account, so you take your check to somebody else to cash it, and they charge you for cashing your check.
But that goes back to another thing, though. How did we get to that point where we didn't put our money in the bank? Because there was a trust factor in the African American community that actually perpetrated that.
Correct. Now, we can have a whole, I want to stay on topic, but we can have a whole different thing. Look, banks ain't always been our friends.
Correct.
Medicals ain't always been our friends. Housing, none of these, no industry I could think of has always been our friends.
Right.
So we were accustomed to putting our money under the mattress, putting our money in the shoebox, because we're subject to open an account and our money disappear.
Correct.
Or they swindle us out of our money. Or even now, there's so many bank accounts that have fees. If you got under $10,000, it's one fee. Under $5,000, it's another fee. Well, hell, if you go over, you may have some fees too.
Right.
So banks haven't always been trustworthy.
Okay.
So when I'm saying opening a bank account, there's a whole nother topic we could do on what should be in your bank account.
Right.
But you at least need to have a way to cash your check consistently. You at least need to be able to put up some emergency money in case you have an issue. And then you need to be able to pay your bills, because you can't always pay them in cash right now.
Right.
So that's why I recommend a bank account. But you're right, we can have a totally different conversation on
our
the
conversation
banking
can
industry.
move.
But, hey,
because it's all educational.
Hey, yeah, well, I'm with it, because I'll tell you in a minute. If you got more than $400 in your checking account, you might be crazy.
Right.
If you got more than $5,000, $10,000 in your savings account, something's wrong with you. Because we need to be doing with our money what the bank does with our money.
Right.
They go invest it, they go loan it out, they use that money to make money. We think, our people think money is for holding and spending. No,
Right.
money needs to be an asset. And an asset is something that makes you money. So every dollar I get, I'm trying to use that to make me some more money. So no, don't hold your money in the bank.
So what is the minimum now for youth out there that's starting, but also for some older adults? What's the minimum amount I should have in my check? And what should I not go over?
So let's flip it, son.
Okay.
What's the minimum I should have in my savings account, right?
Right.
So the average American, and this is America as a whole,
Right.
if you have an emergency over $400, the average American got to go borrow that $400.
Okay.
So we need a starting point, and this is not your emergency fund completely, but put $400 in your savings account.
Okay.
That way we know the average cost of a car breakdown, some average emergency if you can't pay your light bill or something. You got that $400
Okay.
to fall back on. Your checking account is a totally different beast, because literally you should have no money in your checking account except for the money to pay your bills.
Exactly.
That's it. Now, we build off of that $400 in your savings, because at some point you want to get to 3, 6, 12 months worth of emergency cash. But once we even get to that point, we don't keep it all in a savings account.
Right.
I just want you to have enough in your savings account to get through whatever emergency may transpire
might
you
occur.
on a daily or regular
Because
basis.
you can keep money in a savings account, but it'd be more like a money market or something where you can at least gain some interest.
Exactly.
Because a lot of people don't do that. You got, I don't know if a lot of banks offer it, but I do know credit unions offer it. Okay.
Banks offer it too, but they don't regularly or readily give us that information.
Right.
So
right.
sometimes we got to search out, like, okay, well, put your money in a savings account and we think it's safe. Well, once you put it in there, it's really not there.
No, it's
the
not there.
bank is going to loan it to some people, make money off of it. They're going to go invest in some other banks or some stocks or whatever company they feel worthwhile.
Right.
So what I recommend is, like, go open up your own trade account, whether it's with Fidelity, Ameritrade, TD Ameritrade, however you see it. Learn some stocks. Normally, I tell people to start off with what you like.
Okay.
If you like wearing Gucci, I guess, and Gucci got stocks, don't go buy Gucci purse, go buy Gucci stock. I start telling people that buy what
It's a little bit different, right?
It's a little bit different. Buy the stocks. Don't go buy the product.
Right.
And we can circle back to that too, but buy the stocks. Don't go buy the product. Start making your money, make you money. And right now, I could execute a sale within moments and transfer that money back to my bank account if I need it to be cash heavy quickly.
Right.
So you're right. There's no reason to keep money in your savings account. Put it in mutual funds, put it in stocks, put it in something that could liquidate really quickly if you need that money.
Now, and that is great when you make an abundance of money.
You know what?
Because people struggling nowadays. Now the salaries have increased, or the livable wage, because there's really no minimum wage, it's really livable wage, has increased. But for somebody struggling and they making it from paycheck to paycheck, can they really put 20% aside?
Well, let's go back to the initial question. The initial question was about the kids.
Right.
And how we train to bring up the kids. So the teens,
They shouldn't have no bills.
They shouldn't have no excuse.
Well,
we could do this and we're going to carry it through life.
Okay.
Now, we get older, we make some mistakes.
Right.
We may be living paycheck to paycheck. It may be really hard and difficult out there.
Right.
But then you have to learn to manage your money.
Okay.
It's just like even the Bible said, we got to learn to be good stewards. And yes, it's hard. But at some point, especially our people, we got to learn to live within our means. You can't make $2,000 a month and have 50, 60% of that on your rent.
Okay.
You need to tone it down. And you can say, well, rent's high, I can't go nowhere. Look, even if you got to go to the hood to save this money or to get this balance, that's just sometimes what you got to do. You may not be able to be car rich. Like, you can't do a $600, $700 car note. Sometimes you can't do a $400 or $500 car note. So you may just have to get you a little hoopty mobile, like we call it back in the day. The strategy should always be to save and put up money, even if it means altering your lifestyle.
Right. So, and that lends me to the next question, because I'm out of my teens.
Mm-hmm.
I got my first job.
Mm-hmm.
Suppose I graduated from college, or I might have graduated from trade school.
Mm-hmm.
How do I build wealth?
Mm-hmm. The easiest answer is you go back to that rule. And you start putting money up after every check. Every check, be disciplined enough to put up money. Now, for us as black people, I know it's difficult. We haven't been taught about houses. We are the lowest when it comes to home purchases. We're the lowest demographic when it comes to investing our money in stock. We don't trust the stock market. We barely even trust our 401ks. But the best way to start building wealth is to actually initiate a relationship with purchasing a home. Initiate a relationship with starting to buy stocks. Contribute to your 401k, even if it's just 2, 3, 4%. Get that habit going, because after a while it's going to be vested. Your company's going to match. It becomes free money to you, and that's a way of building wealth. But what I would tell anybody who's starting out in their career, every check you get, use some of your money to go buy assets that will make you more money. You want appreciating assets,
And it could
all
be,
the time.
It could be your asset if you work for a company. It could be your 401k.
It could be. If that's
And
your start.
especially if your company matching it, because if you need to use that money at some point, you actually take out a loan for a down payment on a house.
That's right.
So
That's
when
right.
I look at how to build generational wealth, I'm always looking at land,
Mm-hmm.
housing,
Mm-hmm.
stock.
Yes.
You're not building generational wealth off Gucci.
No. Oh God, no. No, man.
I'm so sorry.
No, man. Let me tell you something. Hey, man. I saw a kid back home in Chicago off Michigan Avenue. Me and a friend of mine was going to have some lunch, and he walked by us and asked for like $1. Y'all got $1? Y'all got $2? I can go get something to eat. And my friend looked at him and said, "Hey, man, you have on a Serratino Ferragamo belt, asking for $2. Does that make any sense to you?
Right.
You got on a $400 belt and you need
And
$2.
you need $2.
Go sell a belt, man.
Right.
We need to reposition. We need to reprioritize what we're doing.
But maybe that belt was a knockoff.
Man, well, you know what? I ain't even got no knockoff stuff. That is just, hey.
But even a knockoff, he can still sell that.
You can still do
$2.
so. But because why are you buying this stuff and you have no
And
money?
you have no money. It makes no sense.
I don't push. I do push home buying.
Right.
I don't mind if you buy land, but sometimes those aren't assets just yet.
Right.
They may take a while to become
take a
assets
while.
because you can't really make any money off of
Right.
them. But if you could trade in the markets, buy gold and silver,
Right.
those are things that are always accumulating.
They're
If you
always.
get in the stock market, do bonds and mutual funds, those are things that are always accumulating.
Mm-hmm.
If you can start a business, those are things that should always accumulate.
Right.
If you can retrain yourself into another position in life, that's an investment in you. So I look at that as positive capital. I look at that as assets.
Right.
So I push things like that. I do push home ownerships, but we can also teach you how to accumulate wealth.
Well, you know, the thing
without
that
mind.
I've always despised is when I saw somebody buy a $50,000 car before they buy a house.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And they still living at their mama house.
You can't be car rich at your mama house.
And I don't, that's not even logical to
You
me.
know, sometimes I pick on my son, and my wife probably gonna get mad when I say this. I hope she tune me out. But I look at my son sometimes like, man, he just waiting for us to die. He finna get all the money when we die. This all his, man. No, man, you cannot be car rich
Right.
at your mama's and your grandmama's house,
that
man.
don't make
That
sense.
don't make no sense. Matter of fact, if your car note is more than 10% of your monthly income, you're out of pocket. You're out of whack. So if you make $3,000 a month, your car note should be $300.
And that's some financial literacy that a lot of people need to hear.
Yeah, man, and I know it's difficult. Right now, the average car note is about $536,
Yeah.
going into $600.
Yeah.
that just means you got too much car.
Right.
I hate it for you,
Right.
but man, tone down. Go get that little Prius. Go get that little bucket car. You're gonna pay less for it. But anytime I get into a boasting match with people, because we from Chicago, we're a little, we're a little cocky. We got a little swag.
Audacious at times.
I don't need you to look at my car. Don't look at my watch. Forget the house.
Right.
Let's go bank account to bank account.
Right.
Let's look at that.
That's a
because
little bit different.
I would rather have that working for me than a car that loses value as soon as I drive it off the lot.
Right. And I always say I love zeros in my bank account.
Man,
So I'm serious about that.
The more the better, as long as there's some digit in front of it.
Right.
The depression part, I would get up only because I knew I had to. I'm always having to do stuff for other people, and I can't, who's helping me? Therapy has improved my life by 95%. Every parent, every child, just everyone, just in general, needs some type of therapy, and they should seek it if they feel the need. When I'm approached or have something happen to me, I feel the emotions for everything, but then I have to set it free because it'll do something to me. So I just, like I said, I feel it, not for long, and then I set it free. That's how I've been able to cope with my situations. A closed mouth doesn't get fed. But yeah, once I couldn't take it anymore, and I reached out for help, and I got it.
If you or someone you love is considering therapy, contact the professionals at Park DuValle Community Health Centers today.
This episode of CEO Live Talks is brought to you by Park National Bank. Pay with confidence. Your Park debit card is the fast, safe, smart way to pay this holiday season. Get more details online at parknationalbank.com.
If you or someone you love is considering therapy, contact the professionals at Park DuValle Community Health Centers today.
My Park DuValle Community Health Center is right here.
Communities in our name.
My Park DuValle Community Health Center is right here.
You're always on time.
Because we serve the community.
My Park DuValle Community Health Center is right here.
Park DuValle Community Health Center, providing quality health care, one person, one family, one neighborhood at a time.
My Park DuValle Community Health Center is right here for them.
Park DuValle Community Health is right here for your children's primary care. At Park DuValle Community Health Center, our team of highly dedicated pediatric physicians administers state-of-the-art care right here, every day. Because serving the community is more than part of our name, it's our mission. Park DuValle Community Health Center, providing quality health care, one person, one family, one neighborhood at a time.
One of the things that, I have pride of myself, and I know you have talked to your son before, was, hey, I want you to be fiduciary responsible. So when you leave the house, my house, at 18 years old, I want you to know how to open up a bank account.
Yes.
How to pay for your bills.
Yes.
How to take care of yourself.
Yes.
Right? So we've covered, most of that now. And I know America we're still struggling with the aftermath of COVID. But let's move to how can an individual build a business? Because I know that's something you have done as a businessman.
Yes.
And, walk us through the difference between a LLC and a sole proprietor, and just how did you go about that?
Yeah, so, the point I'm going to back up a point about the kids. Well, a lot of parents discipline their kids in a different way. Sometimes, you just spank and put them in a corner. But the way that me and my wife, Dr. Cherise, did our son was every time he got in trouble, he had to write a financial report to us. He had to research some stock, some bond, read some book. He had to come back with that report. So we was putting financial literacy in him at an early age so that he would be able to function outside of the house, right?
Okay.
So one of the things we taught him was like entrepreneurship is an option. Yes, we've all been to college, but college is literally the backdrop for what your money that you're making from college should fund what you want to do with your life. Meaning, if you're going to be an entrepreneur, if you're passionate about something, this is what you're going to do. Put that money into that passion, then find a way to monetize that passion, right? So that's pretty much what I did. I learned some things that I was passionate about, and it was a few of them, so it looked like I was all over the place. It took me a minute to hone in on, oh, I'm not passionate about the product. I'm not passionate about the service. I'm passionate about the business. So I knew that I was really good at running businesses. And so that's where it came from. And so when I found my avenue into that, it was like, okay, well, you're sole proprietorship. I don't want people to come at my money. I need to protect myself from my money. So I did the LLC, which is not a tax, it's not a tax, I'm looking for the word, it's not a tax shelter or a tax, it's not a tax entity.
Yeah.
It's not a tax entity, it's a legal entity. But what it does, it protects you from being sued by any calamities that may befall your business. So you get an LLC to protect you from that, not for tax, because you still gonna pay the same amount of taxes. A sole proprietorship, a LLC, some S corps, some partnerships, all of that still filters down to your personal 1040 taxes. So you really don't have a savings in there. But as far as getting started, I was 28 years old. And I got paid from my job. And normally you're super happy when you get your paycheck. Friday night just got paid. You remember that whole song?
Friday night just got paid.
Friday night,
we going to party.
Just got paid.
Put my money aside, my 10% that I was supposed to be doing something. That 10% went to the club.
None of that. I was broke as a joke, man. My check was $800. My bank account was negative $632.
What?
At 28 years old. Yeah, and I had the nerve to have a girlfriend. So I was like, this
and she took that when you went to the movies that night?
Every quarter. Every quarter. So in my head, I was like, okay, Edward, this is not working. There has to be a different system for you. And so fortunately, I met someone who helped me start the business. And when they helped me start the business, they also helped me with my finances and stuff. So that's when you learn money is not for spending. Money is for investing and making more money. That's when you learn, do today, and I still say this to people, do today, right now, what other people won't do, so you can do tomorrow what other people can't do. So I started using those philosophies when I started my first company. And your first company, it's really just a job. You working for you, but now you banking on you. I'm not waiting for somebody else to interview me, give me a job, tell me what to do. All of the drive is me. All of the hustle, the grit, the grind, all of the execution is me. That's the pressure of entrepreneurship, because if you don't make a quarter, you don't eat, but it ain't nobody's fault but yours.
I agree. So here's the funny thing. So you brought home a check of $800. You owed the bank $632, so you was left with $168 to play with.
For 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
2 weeks.
2 weeks, right? And I already blew that because I went to the movies.
I did.
So I had $60 for the next week. So how quick? Because when you think about that, and this is a conversation when we talk about why people sell drugs. Right? Why are people drug dealers, right? But if you give them a way out, how quick did you turn that around to make money? Because for people that want to get out the game, they want to understand, what does that look like?
Okay, so
that's a serious question.
That's a serious question. because, you know, I listened to Dave Chappelle the other day when he got ripped off at a 3-card Monte game. And he sat there and watched, and he was like, hey, all these people here is friends with the dude who just ripped me off. So when the next dude came up and put up money, he said, yo, don't put up your money. You about to get ripped off. So the dude doing 3-card Monte snatched him up and looked him in his eye. Said, you never come between a man and his meal. So my outlook is, I never judge people on what they do for a living.
Right.
I don't care if you deal drugs or sell pencils. What you do to make your living is what you do. Now, I hope at some point that all of the legal activities transition to be something a little better for you, a better route in life, right? So when you think about the drug game, we're talking like fast money. I had a drug dealer tell me, like, man, you go to college to make money. I said, yes. He said, well, I'm already making money. I did about 40 grand this week. So how do I tell somebody who's doing about 40K a week to go get a job making 40,000?
But
hard.
But the issue is, how quick did it take you to be successful? So was it a year or 2 years in your business? Because what I'm proposing is, yeah, you made that 40,000, right, in a week, right?
Yeah.
Now, you only got 2, 3 to 5 years to make that kind of money,
max,
right?
Yeah.
Now, by the time you get arrested, right, you're gonna have to give a proportion to the attorney.
Yeah.
By the time you do time, you get out of jail. Let's say it's 10, 15 years.
Yeah.
Right? You ain't made no money all those years.
Right.
So how much is that money worth?
Right. It's not a good trade-off at all. I will never convince somebody that it is a good trade-off. But if you are fortunate enough to do something with your money, coming from that background, then success could be based on how much money you got. It's hard to put a time frame on it. It's based on what business you go into. So, yeah, if you take your drug money and you bought shares of Coca-Cola, you may be good right now. You're going to be super good. If you took it and you bought a detail shop to clean out cars and stuff, I don't know. I don't know what your hustle's like. So it's hard to put time on it. But what I will tell anybody who's coming from that life, you have the makings of a CEO because you're already running an organization. It's just with an illegal product.
Right.
You already know how to do accounting service because if you ever talk to a drug dealer, their numbers is they could spit numbers quickly.
Right.
So you already know the financial side of business.
Right.
We just need to change your lingo. We just need to change your product. And then you need to put the same efforts into, or the same hustle into this new venture. So I don't actually have a time frame, but you do got to have a hustler's mentality
to do it
on the legal side.
So back to, how long did it take you for you became successful as an entrepreneur?
So I stutter or pause because I very seldomly use the word successful, right? Because successful is based on your own merit and what you depict to be your success. And so we see it as different levels. So if I go in a corporate atmosphere, so maybe I'm gonna say about 3 years when I woke up broke, and then I met the guy and he trained me on what it is I started to do for a living. And I went to an apartment community with him. He trained me, he's like, Edward, I'm gonna show you how to turn around this apartment community. He said, I'm gonna teach you how to do it, but I'm not gonna pay you. You gotta learn it, and there's no compensation. I must have been in a very great mood that day.
Because you agreed.
Because I said, okay, let's do it.
Right.
He had me on that project for about 6 months. I learned everything I could about the apartment industry, the multifamily industry, everything I could about contractors, landscaping, financing, apartments, everything. He taught me. And he said, Edward, are you ready? I said, yeah. We went down the street to another community, met a guy. The guy was like, I need this, and done. I need the landscaping done. I need to rehab all these apartments. I want to look better. I want to raise my rents, this and that. But it's I'm gonna call it a C community.
Right.
Edward, can you make it a B community? I said, yes, of course, based off the teachings I had already had.
Right.
We walked out the door. The guy said, we got the contract. The guy with training said, we got the contract. He handed me the check. This is your check. I need you to start on the property like tomorrow. Like, okay, cool. Jumped in the car, opened up the envelope. It was $25,000. Oh, okay, cool. Close it back up. Came the next day. I'm thinking I'm doing a project for $25,000. I'm getting it done. Turns out I was getting paid the first month's rent off of every apartment that was leased while I was there. So my success came very quickly because I went from having little or nothing to close to 80 grand in my bank account when we were done. And this is in 45 days. This is not like all year. This is in 45 days, right? But what is that saying? A fool in their money's always part. So yeah, I went and bought a Saab 95. I put speaker systems in the car. I traveled the country and went and got an apartment that was about $2 grand that I only seen 3 times. Going through it, I bought the watches, everything. Hood rich and financially stupid.
Right.
At 28, 29 years old.
But you can expect that at that age.
Yeah, but what you don't expect is to make $200,000-$300,000 a year and be broke.
Right, right. But it can happen because it's not about how much money you make. Yeah. It's about how much money you save versus how much you spend. And a lot of people make $200,000, but they broke.
But they broke
because they spend it fast. They don't think about the future. They don't think about how to build wealth.
You think the money is going to keep coming.
Yeah, and it might not. And that's how a lot of athletes they're broke.
So when you hit the slowdown period and you notice the money is not coming as fast.
But you got all this debt you have built up now.
You know what you teach yourself? Edward, you need an education. You don't know what you're doing with money.
Right.
And so it's like you know how to make money, but you don't know what you're doing with money.
Right, right.
So then here comes the education component.
Right.
Let me go ahead and invest 20, 30% of this money.
Right.
So I got something working. Let me put together an emergency stash because business may slow down.
Right.
Let me market my company because our people, we're the slowest to go market our product. But when you don't market your product, you won't have a product to market.
Right.
So I started putting money into marketing my product, investing in different ventures, and then just keep working.
This episode of CEO Live Talks is brought to you by Park National Bank. Pay with confidence. Your Park debit card is the fast, safe, smart way to pay this holiday season. Get more details online at parknationalbank.com.
My Park DuValle Community Health Center is right here.
Communities in our name.
My Park DuValle Community Health Center is right here.
You're always on time.
Because we serve the community.
My Park DuValle Community Health Center is right here.
Park DuValle Community Health Center, providing quality health care, one person, one family, one neighborhood at a time.
At Park DuValle, we offer a variety of services for behavioral health needs, such as therapy, medication management, case management, and we also have community health workers. Here at Park DuValle Community Health Center, in our behavioral health department, we provide you with the tools to help improve your life and your mental health. If you or someone you know is experiencing thoughts of suicide, please don't hesitate to give the Suicide Prevention Hotline a call. This could save your life or someone else's life.
Tell us about your company now. And this, like I said, it's tax season.
Yeah.
And we talk about financial literacy.
Yes.
What do you provide? Talk about your company.
Sure. So Best Tax and Business Solutions is owned by me and my wife, Dr. Sharice Moore. We wanted some benefits on it. So she is the majority shareholder because she's a black woman. So guess what? We get a couple minority benefits from that. And so keep in mind, people who start their business, like, hey, black woman equals the best chance and best opportunity when you're owning a business. But
You
right
know
now,
that's going to change one day, right? Because black men are so behind in the systems of society. It's going to shift to black men, especially when we dine at a high rate than anybody else, and we at the lowest level of graduating from college. So that dynamic has to change.
Has to change. Yeah, we are the most prone to be on welfare, and we don't even qualify for it.
How about that?
Ain't that something?
How about that?
Ain't that something?
How about that?
So yeah, if you are an unmarried man, I suggest you go marry a black woman for the best opportunity in life. But we do full service accounting.
Okay.
I'm gonna say we're not CPAs, so we don't sign off on audits.
Okay.
But everything else we're capable of doing. We can do your tax returns for your nonprofits, for your businesses, for your partnerships. The bulk of our business is individual tax returns, so we can do that. But we do offer the accounting services, financial reporting, bookkeeping.
Audit 990.
We don't audit your 990, but we can complete your 990 for you. We can complete your 990 for you and send it to a CPA to sign off on it to be audited. So we can do all of that stuff. We have Best Financial Services Group where we're bringing to form like insurances, life insurance, property and casualty insurance, health insurance. We're about to add some investment products to the group as well, where you can buy mutual funds for us, you can get annuities through us and stuff like that. And we're going to start offering coaching to where we can take kids, adults, any age group, meet them where they're at, and get them to where they should be financially, or at least on the best track financially, because we're unapologetically black. We unapologetically work with black people because we love black excellence. That's not to say we don't have other clients or we will turn down any client. But our heart is for our people because we know that we're the most damaged.
So, last parting note, we need the email address and phone number for our fans out there so they know how to contact you.
Oh, yeah. You can email me at emore@bestfsg.com, and I'll give you my personal cell because I can't even remember my business cell right now. But you can have area code 502-438-5591. And if you don't have to even do business with us. If you have any questions, if you have any concerns, just give us a call. We'll be more than happy to assist you. That's what we're here for.
And at the conclusion of the show today, I have the pleasure to introducing the Triple J Band. This is Black History Month. We're at the Joe's Prom Room, legendary Joe's Prom Room, which opened in 1954. And I just want to show the community some black excellence. So enjoy.